So big! Hi, library friends! It's me, Miss Pat. Welcome back to another So Big. We're going to be doing more stories and songs and poems this week about planting time. Hello, how are you? Let's sing our Hello, How Are You song, where we sing about being good, or great, or wonderful. Ready? Hello, 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 how are you? Hello, 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 how are you? I'm good, I'm great, I'm wonderful. I'm good, I'm great, I'm wonderful. I'm great today. How about you? So today we have a story called Lola Plants a Garden. But before we read our story, we have to get our wiggles out. I wiggle my fingers, I wiggle my toes, I wiggle my shoulders, I wiggle my nose. Now, no more wiggles are left in me. I'm as still can be. Lola Plants a Garden by Anna McQuinn, illustrated by Rosalind Beardshaw. So here's a little poem. It's a garden poem. It says, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Those are kinds of flowers. Lola plants a garden. Do you see all the tools for planting a garden? Here is a shovel, and here is a watering can. And here are some little garden shovels and a trowel. This is like a little rake, a tiny little rake that you use to rake the soil, just like in our song. Lola loves her book of garden poems. Her favorite poem is the one about Mary, Mary. Lola wants to plant a garden. Mommy says there is room near the vegetables. Lola gets books about gardens from the library. She chooses her favorite flowers from the books. Mommy makes a list. They go to the garden store to buy seeds. Here's her bag of seeds. Lola and Mommy make the garden. The seed packets mark where the flowers are planted. See, she made a little marker with a stick and the packet from the seeds. It has the picture and the name of the seeds on there. Lola will have to wait a long time for them to grow. That's the hard part, isn't it? The waiting. Yep. Lola makes her own flower book while she waits. Mommy types the Mary, Mary poem and Lola glues it in. Do you see her cutting out all kinds of flower shapes? Lola makes a string of bells. She finds some shells and old beads. She even makes a little Mary, Mary. One day, Lola sees tiny green shoots. She pulls up weeds so the shoots can grow. Remember we talked about pesky weeds? You have to pull them out. Whew, hard work. Lola's flowers grow bigger. They open up to the sun. Do you see some little garden critters? I see some butterflies. And look right here, there are some little ants. You see them? These flowers are taller than Lola.
Daddy helps Lola hang her shiny bells. Lola finds Mary Mary a special spot. It's just perfect. Here she is. Here's a garden critter, is a bee. Here's another bee. You see the bee? Orla, Ben, and Ty are coming to see Lola's garden. Lola and Mommy make cupcakes. Lola wears her flower shirt. Mommy helps Lola with her hair. Do you see she has flower clips in her hair? So pretty. Lola's friends love everything about her garden. They share the crunchy peas and sweet strawberries that Mommy grew. Yum. Then Lola makes up a story about Mary Mary. What kind of garden will Lola plant next?
What kind of garden do you think Lola will plant next? The end. Do you remember last time when we met for So Big, we talked about the plants and parts of plants? I have a mini greenhouse right here. Some of you made this with me last time. And it shows all the parts of plants. Do you see how big my plant has grown? It's so big now that I have to take it out and plant it in a pot. It outgrew the mini greenhouse. So when you look at the mini greenhouse, you can see on the bottom under the soil are the plant's roots. The roots hold the plant in the ground and they take up or drink up water to bring to the rest of the plant. That's what roots do. This long skinny part right here is the stem. And the job of the stem is to hold the plant up, but also to move water up to the leaves. And here are the leaves. Do you know what job the leaves do? They soak up the rays of the sun and then they help make food. They need sunlight and they make food for the rest of the plant. And then you don't see any here, but very soon, I see a little one starting right here. I'm going to have flowers. When I put it in a pot, it will probably bloom some flowers. And the flowers make fruit for the plant. And inside every little fruit are little seeds for new plants. Those are all the parts of the plants. Do you remember the song that we sang last week called The Parts of Plants? It goes to the tune of the Muffin Man. Do you know the parts of plants, the parts of plants, the parts of plants? Do you know the parts of plants that help them grow and grow? Here's the roots. The roots, they hold the plant in the ground. When the wind blows around, roots hold it down. The roots, they hold the plant in the ground and drink up water to the stem. The stem moves water up the plant, up the plant, up the plant. The stem moves water up the plant and brings it to the leaves. The leaves soak up the rays of the sun, the rays of the sun, the rays of the sun. The leaves soak up the rays of the sun and help the plant make food. Do you remember what the flowers do? The flower grows into a fruit. Flowers wave in the breeze and attract the bees. The flower grows into a fruit which holds new tiny seeds. So now you can answer the question, do you know the parts of plants? And you can say or sing, yes, I know the parts of plants, the parts of plants, the parts of plants. Yes, I know the parts of plants that help them grow and grow. Now you do! So last week we talked about how most new plants start as a seed, and we did our tiny seed poem. So let's pretend we have a little seed in our hand and we're going to plant it. This is called the tiny seed. I had a little tiny seed and I put it in the ground. I spread a little soil on top and patted it all around. The sun came up and kept it warm, and the rain gave it a shower. And my seed grew up and up and up, and now it is a flower. Good. Now in this poem, we talk about all the things that a little tiny seed needs to help it grow. Who remembers the big fancy grown-up word for when a seed starts to grow? That's right, you remembered, germinate. When a seed starts to germinate, it starts to grow into a plant. So when we talk about the things that a seed needs to grow, we put it in the ground and we spread a little what? Soil on top. Seeds need soil to grow. Most of them do. And then, what is that? The sun came out and kept it warm. Seeds need sunlight to grow. And then the rain gave it a shower. The rain waters the plant, so the plant needs water. Sometimes we water the plant with a watering can, or sometimes the rain waters the plant. So knowing all these things that a seed needs, you can think about these things when we say the poem, The Tiny Seed. Let's do it again and think about all the things that a seed needs to grow. Ready? Get your ground out and your tiny seed. I had a little tiny seed and I put it in the ground. I spread a little soil on top and patted it all around. The sun came up and kept it warm, and the rain gave it a shower. And my seed grew up and up and up, and now it is a flower. Great job! In our story, Lola plants a garden. Do you remember some of the things Lola did to help with planting her garden? Well, she went and bought some seeds and then she planted those seeds. And in part of the story, she pulled out the weeds. Those are the pesky plants. You don't want those in your garden because they choke out and take all the room from the plants that you do want in your garden. There are some other things that you need to do when you plant a garden. You might have to rake the soil. Can you help me rake the soil by making a rake with your hands? And pretend to rake the soil to break it up and get the soil ready to plant your seeds. And then we plant the seeds. You have little seeds in your hand and you just drop them in the soil. And then we have to water the seeds. So here's my watering can and we're going to water the seeds. If there's no rain, you have to water them yourself. Are you pretending to water? Good. And then when you get some pesky weeds, you have to pull the weeds. Pull them, throw them away. Good. And then after your flowers start to bloom in your garden, you can smell them like this. Can you pretend to smell some beautiful flowers? This is the way we smell the flowers. And if you've planted vegetables, you can pick your vegetables. So you would have a nice basket. Can you make a basket with your arms? And you would pick the veggies. Maybe you're picking a cucumber and I'm picking a pepper and some lettuce and some green beans. Yummy. And maybe even some corn. And I'm putting all my veggies in my basket. Let's sing about all the things that we do to plant our garden. This song is called This is the Way We Plant Our Garden. So we're going to start off by raking. Get your rake ready. This is the way we rake the soil. Rake the soil, rake the soil. This is the way we rake the soil when we plant our garden. Now let's plant our seeds. This is the way we plant the seeds. Plant the seeds, plant the seeds. This is the way we plant the seeds when we plant our garden. Okay, now there's some little green sprouts, so we have to water them. This is the way we water the sprouts. Water the sprouts, water the sprouts. This is the way we water the sprouts when we plant our garden. Do you have your watering can? Good. And now we have some pesky weeds that are growing. Let's pick those. This is the way we pull the weeds. Pull the weeds, pull the weeds. This is the way we pull the weeds, working in our garden. Whew, that was hard work pulling all those weeds. But now here comes the nice part. Let's smell our flowers. This is the way we smell the flowers. Smell the flowers. Smell the flowers. This is the way we smell the flowers, growing in our garden. Okay, get your basket ready. Let's pick some veggies. This is the way we pick the veggies. Pick the veggies, pick the veggies. This is the way we pick the veggies, growing in our garden. Great! So my mini greenhouse has a string bean plant in it. If I plant this in my garden, do you think I will get some string beans? Maybe. And then I will have to pick them. We have one more song today. It's called Happy Feeling because it's great to finish up with a happy song. And we're going to start by making our heart beat. This goes to the tune of The Wheels on the Bus. It goes like this. I've got that happy feeling here in my heart, here in my heart, here in my heart. I've got that happy feeling here in my heart, here in my heart to stay. Did you make your heart beat? Now we have that happy feeling down in our feet. I've got that happy feeling down in my feet, down in my feet, down in my feet. I've got that happy feeling down in my feet, down in my feet to stay. Those are some happy feet. Do you see my happy feet? Now let's have some happy hands. I've got that happy feeling here in my hands, here in my hands, here in my hands. I got that happy feeling here in my hands, here in my hands to stay. Now let's get that happy feeling all over. Ready? I've got that happy feeling all over me, all over me, all over me. I've got that happy feeling all over me, all over me to stay. So before we end so big, I want to show you what you're going to do in your craft kit this week. You're going to go off with your grown-up and paint a flower pot. Now here is mine. Mine is little, but you have a big one to paint. And there'll be lots of beautiful, bright colors of paint in your craft kit and a big pot. And there's also some soil and some seeds. So after you paint your flower pot and you let it dry, you can plant the seeds in the soil. And then what will you have to do? You'll have to water it and wait for that magic to happen, for the seeds to germinate and start to grow. That's the craft this week. Isn't that fun? Well, I hope you have a great time painting your pots. I hope you email me some pictures and show me how they look. You can be in the picture too if you want. And I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you again next time for more planting time fun. Bye everyone. Bye friends.